Before we begin, please do me a huge favor by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button, as it's the only way I'll know I'm not wasting my time with you guys. With so many boxing channels out there, we're here to bring you unfiltered boxing content. I also want to hear your thoughts in the comments, as this channel is for real boxing fans, not just for me to waffle on. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's boxing card has a little bit of everything. Huge names, title fights, and of course, a mix of competitive bouts and potential mismatches. While the two headline fights look evenly matched, we've got 4 undercard fights where the odds suggest one-sided affairs. Are the odds makers onto something, or are we in for a few surprises? Let's break down these 4 bouts and you can tell me if the odds make sense or if we're underestimating the underdogs. Let's start with the main event, Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev for the undisputed light heavyweight title. This is the fight everyone's been waiting for, and thankfully, it looks like we've got a real contest on our hands. The odds are close, with Bivol a slight favorite at 1.71 and Beterbiev at 2.15. This isn't one of those mismatches we're going to be talking about later. This is a genuine 50-50 battle between 2 of the best light heavyweights on the planet. Bivol's technical brilliance will go head-to-head with Beterbiev's frightening knockout power. Both men are undefeated, and both have everything to lose. The odds reflect a fight that could go either way. Will it be Bivol's control of distance and timing that wins out? Or will Beterbiev's relentless pressure and KO power prove too much? Let me know who you're backing in this clash of titans. Now, on to Fabio Wardley versus Frazer Clarke for the British heavyweight title. The odds here tell an interesting story. Wardley is the favourite at 1.69, while Clarke is at 2.20. It's not a complete mismatch, but the odds suggest that Wardley, with his fast rise in the pro ranks, is expected to come out on top. Clarke, however, is no pushover. He's got an Olympic bronze medal and a decorated amateur career, but we're still waiting to see if he can replicate that success in the professional ring. Wardley, on the other hand, is on a roll and has shown he can mix it with some of the best in Britain. The odds reflect the bookmakers' confidence in Wardley's momentum, but what do you think? Will Clarke's amateur experience give him the edge, or is Wardley destined to solidify his place at the top of the British heavyweight scene? Share your thoughts in the comments. This could be closer than the odds suggest. The odds reflect the bookmakers' slight confidence in Wardley's momentum, but what do you think? Will Clarke's amateur experience give him the edge, or is Wardley destined to solidify his place as a contender? Share your thoughts in the comments. The odds suggest this rematch will be close. Now, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Kamil Szeremeta. This one, folks, looks like a walk in the park for Eubank Jr. He's the overwhelming favourite at 1.04, while Szeremeta is a staggering 15.20 underdog. If you don't know what those odds mean, let me break it down for you. The bookies are giving Szeremeta less than a snowball's chance in a sauna to win this one. Frankly, this is one of those fights where you have to ask, why was it made? Eubank Jr. should have no trouble here. Szeremeta is tough, no doubt, but is he a real threat to a fighter like Eubank Jr.? The odds say no, and let's be honest, so do most fans. Eubank Jr. has been in with tougher opponents, and this fight feels more like a tune-up than a real challenge. So, what's your take on this? Do you think it's worth watching a fight where the odds are so skewed, or would you rather see more balanced matchups? Does Szeremeta have any hope here, or is this fight over before it begins? Moving on to Jai Opetaia versus Jack Massey for the IBF Cruiserweight title. Opetaia is the favourite at 1.05, while Massey is a huge underdog at 12-1. This fight looks like it's been set up as a showcase for Opetaia, who's coming off some impressive performances. Massey? Well, he's got heart, but the odds say he's got little chance of pulling off an upset here. The problem with fights like these is that they often feel predictable. Massey's chances seem slim, but the question remains, will he even be able to test Opetaia? Or are we just here to see Opetaia dominate and move on to bigger things? Massey is tough, no doubt, but does he really have the tools to challenge Opetaia? The odds suggest not, and you'd have to be a bold punter to bet on a Massey upset here. If you think Massey has a shot, let me know, because the odds certainly don't reflect that. Are we just waiting for Opetaia to add another win to his record? Now, on to Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron. This one's a bit more interesting, but only because of Whittaker's star power. He's the overwhelming favourite at 1.06, while Cameron is at 9.40. The odds suggest a mismatch, with Whittaker being given the clear path to victory. His flashy style and growing reputation have made him a darling of British boxing, but are we really seeing him tested here? Cameron is tough, no doubt, but the odds makers aren't giving him much of a chance. Whittaker is expected to coast through this one, which raises the question, shouldn't we be seeing rising stars like Whittaker in more competitive bouts? There's no doubt that Whittaker is one of the brightest young talents in the sport, but are we getting a real contest here, or is it just another showcase for his skills? Is it worth watching him breeze past another underdog, or do you prefer seeing these prospects genuinely tested? Let's get your thoughts in the comments. And then there's Sky Nicholson versus Raven Chapman for the WBC Women's Featherweight title. Nicholson is the favourite at 1.15, while Chapman sits at 5.25. This fight, at least on the surface, seems slightly more competitive than the others, but the odds still suggest Nicholson is expected to win comfortably. Chapman might have the tools to make this interesting, but again, are we looking at a real contest here? Or will Nicholson simply cruise to another victory? The odds suggest we may not be in for the most competitive fight. Nicholson is a skilled boxer, no doubt, but is Chapman being underestimated here? Or are we in for another one-sided affair? So that's the breakdown of 4 fights that, let's be honest, look like potential mismatches on paper. But here's where you come in. Do you think the odds reflect reality? Are we being too harsh, or are these bouts as lopsided as the numbers suggest? Boxing is full of surprises, but when the odds are this skewed, it's hard to expect anything other than a dominant performance from the favourites. Let's not forget the 2 main fights on this card. Bivol versus Beterbiev and Wardley versus Clark are much more evenly matched. The odds there suggest we're in for a real contest, but for the rest of the card, this is up for debate. Do you think we're in for a night of mismatches, or are we about to witness some unexpected upsets? Let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers.